Welcome back to your session. We're diagnosing crime addiction, main character syndrome, and extreme narrative fraud.
Say it with me now. Grift, 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 the therapeutic grift. You cry on stage, I cash that script. Grift, 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 the therapeutic grift. Your trauma's fake, my rate just flipped. Grift, 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 the therapeutic grift. Diagnosis clown with a grudge and a gift. Crocodile tears, just give him a fall. How to fix that? Stop being a hog. You said you're marginalized with a 6-figure check. Wrote 5 bad tweets, now you're on deck. You hijack, lawyer, you pitch fake pain, but your TikTok tears ain't crying in vain. Break it down like CBT. Where's your source? I feel seen. You speak in trauma like it's a trend, but I got charts and your art don't bend. Grift, 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 the therapeutic grift. You overshare, I monetize swift. Grift, 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 the therapeutic grift. Main character tears, I plead the fifth. Trust my voice, you scream on stage, but your lived experience came with a wage. You said make space and hog the mic. Therapy note, you flubbed your psych. Grift, 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 the therapeutic grift. Watch me dissect your ego drift. Grift, 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 the therapeutic grift.
Hello. What's going on, everybody? Yep, just me today. This is a spur of the moment thing. Decided to do this basically because I'll be completely honest, we've reacted to a GDC panel before and it wasn't very fun. This isn't a GDC panel. This is actually a bit different. But it's going to just be me. And yes, I do have a new background for my streams, as you could see. Made it more custom for me. I know Raven has one as well, which I have to send her. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to react to this. I have about 2 hours free. So we're going to react to this panel, which actually includes 3 Sweet Baby Inc. members and 1 former Sweet Baby Inc. member. So that's the thing. Now, this is called the Therapeutic Grift. Why is it called that? Well, because there's a term, therapeutic drift. And I decided to take that term and change it because it makes it sound funnier. Now, what is this? It's basically easy content to make because I don't have to prepare anything. I just have to find something I want to react to and then react to it live. It's going to be less focused on like bringing up individual people in the chat or, you know, whatever. Obviously, I'll still read super chats if they come in. I'm going to look at the chat still. I'm reading it, but I'm not going to like bring up individual people. And it probably will be a little bit less for clips as well. Because it's going to be more focused on reacting to just how stupid these people are and the things that they say. And then it will obviously be available on the channel afterwards for anybody who missed it. Now, this is not going to be like a regular thing. It's not going to be like every Wednesday at 1:30. It's going to be like a sporadic whenever I have time and feel like it kind of thing. Unless it like takes off and becomes like a big thing, then maybe I'll try to schedule it, but I don't know. But what's cool about this stream is that when it comes to our live show, can't really invite people on the same way. And there's a bunch of creators and people, you know, great people in our community who've been in our chats or whatever, and like we've wanted to have on and we can't. Well, this is a little bit more laid back. So if one of them pops up in the chat or whatever, I can obviously just send them a link and they can come join even in the middle. That's the idea. So that's basically what this is. We're going to react to this. This is a 50-something minute stream. I'm hoping it won't like glitch out or whatever. I know our internet sometimes does go a little bit fuzzy, and it is saying it's a little bit annoyed with me right now. Hopefully it won't be a big issue. But like, as I said, if something, you know, pops up, someone pops up in the chat or whatever, another creator's watching and wants to, you know, join, let me know. You know, I could always have them come in if I decide to. But yeah, so that's basically what we're going to do. It's very laid back, nothing too crazy. And so I want to react to this kind of live. Hopefully the video doesn't stutter or whatever because of the internet, as I said, and it's not a regular thing. But yeah, so I see everybody in the chat. I see a bunch of people there. I'm not going to go through and say hi to everybody, but I can see Johnny Ortiz, the Proctofile, Microchip Slayer, White Kitsu, Chris Styles, Griffin of Might, Jeremy Hughes Reviews. Yeah, that's the people I see. Again, it's in the middle of the day, so it's a little bit different. Flynn Nest on YouTube for $2 says Bueller, hail to the chair cult. Hail to the chair cult as well. Yeah, but again, less clips. No, I don't really have any tiers for this or anything. It's just kind of a spur of the moment thing. Like if it takes off, maybe I'll work on like tiers or whatever. But right now, it's just kind of a let's hang out and watch some cringe. It does say my internet connection's being annoying, which is funny because it was literally working perfectly fine, like just before the stream. I see Johnny Douglas is here, Seabrew, Brian of Cetus is here. Yeah. So, okay, that's pretty much it. I see about 50 people here. Don't forget to like the stream. And yeah, we're going to jump in. Obviously, I'll take breaks for super chats and to give my commentary on it. This is going to be cringe, guys. This is going to be involving Camerin Wild, Pelo Tsavoussis, I believe. I don't know how his name's pronounced. And what's it called? Amy Leigh Shaw, I believe. And another person who I forget the name of, but he's literally a former Sweet Baby Inc. member. So he's not working for them now, but he is. So it's like 4 Sweet Baby Inc. people, and this was recent. This was a stream from 2025. So this was literally from 4 days ago. So we're getting to this right ahead of time. So I see Hani Mayu says, I'm probably mispronouncing names. Right here to help me. Hail to you, TDS. Hope you're doing good. I am. Let's see, Dirk. I see Griff. So basically, it is my internet's being annoying. I really don't know why, because it should be fine, and it was working fine right before the stream. But of course, when we start to stream, it decides that it's going to be annoying. Let me see if I can quickly mess with my settings a little bit. Does this do any better? This maybe helps. I don't know. But no one's commented on my new background here, and the ones on our videos. For our last video, we used new background. Those are going to be new things going forward. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Internet's not doing great. We're going to jump in. Yeah, I'm roboting. Yeah, probably am. Let me close some things and see if I can fix it. Come on. Did that fix it? No. I'm literally not doing anything. I don't understand why the internet's suddenly dead. I don't know why, but I don't know if you guys saw, just because while I'm waiting for the internet hopefully to be a little better. Take a look at the back. Framed in all of its glory, the Total Defense Shogun. All hail the Total Defense Shogun. Yep. Thought that would be a cool little addition. I'm getting throttled. Yep. I don't know why. Why is the internet not working correctly? I'm plugged in. Everything's good. I'm worried about... I'm plugged in, but I'm also on Wi-Fi. I'm worried that if I mess with it, it'll not work. So it seems to be doing a little better. Oh. Can everybody hear me now? It should be good. All right, we're gonna have to kind of go. Oh, thank you for joining our. I have to change that from therapy group, but yes, thank you for joining. Why is it doing this? It was literally working fine. I'm literally. We do Verizon, not Comcast. It literally this is the same internet we use for our streams. We have no trouble. I'm in the better room too, so it should be fine. It should be fine now. The internet's just going in and out, and in and out, and in and out, and in and out, and in and out. And it was working before the stream. I was playing the stream to test it, and it literally was fine. It was literally fine. Like, there was no problems whatsoever. I really don't understand why this is doing this right now. What, let me ask, honey, are you doing anything? Okay, but, are you doing anything like downloading or anything? Okay, I don't know why the internet's not cooperating. Literally, I have no idea. Yep, but remember when you talk, it makes my character talk, and it sounds like you, which I also have to fix. Blame it on Smash? Raven is pulling the cables, maybe. No, the cable is not twisted. I really don't understand. It's going in and out. Literally, it was fine. It was. I literally. Therapeutic grift, you talking copying no, I'm just it's grifting because it's the lamest possible easy to do content that I don't have to prepare for ahead of time. That's the idea. It's like I'm just going to do this, very little effort, very little whatever, and just kind of react to stuff. But for some reason, the Wi-Fi's decided to be annoying for no reason. You know what? Let me check something. Have you tried plugging the microphone in? What do you mean the microphone's weird? It should be fine. It's probably just roboting because of the internet connection. You know what's going on? Let me see. Hold on. I think I know what's going on. First off, Microsoft Edge, go away. Oh my goodness, no wonder. I fixed it. I'm fixing it. You don't have to look. I got it. That explains a lot. Give me just a sec. I'm probably going to fix it in just a minute. Mike's fine, so is the stream. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that, but I realize what the problem is, and I'm just going to end these. For some reason, I have a VPN, obviously, for when I do things like research and stuff like that, and for some reason, it's bugged, and it's literally was like opened like 4 of them. So, also I can close this. Why is this open? This is not supposed to be open either. Yeah. It doesn't seem like it did anything at all, but okay. Let's see if this loads up at least now. Or it just won't load up because for some reason it just decided it doesn't want to today. Wow, this is fun. This is great. I feel great just coming on myself for the first time just by myself and everything's broken. That's great. Oops. Am I live? Hello? Hopefully I'm alive. Let's see. Did this make a difference? I think this should have made a difference. It looks like this made a big difference. Have I burned the holy incense and applied proper oils to appease your computer's machine spirit? Huh. I think it should be better. It's showing this. It's showing it. You don't sound robot anymore. Yes. Aha. I have thwarted it. For now. All right. Did you say you're using Microsoft Edge? Says Bjorn Thorgodisman for an Icelandic 750. No, I'm not using it. It's installed in the computer and it won't uninstall itself or stop running. So for some reason there was one running in the background when there's no reason to be. But yeah, so what I did was I just enabled my VPN to see if that connection was better, and it is. So great. Hopefully this works. Hey, if this works in the future, I'm going to enable it for live streams just in general. If it fixes the connection, that sounds great. Hey Raven, you're gonna have one of these if this works, and Okay. I thought that made it work, and it didn't. Oh, God. That's so annoying. It was like, yes, I fixed the problem. And it's like, ha, that's what you think. Hey, Raven, you're going to have one of these if they were. Yep, I'm back. It looks like it's fine now. I just thought that might help. Yeah, the stream did die for just a second. I'm back. It, for some reason, decided to mess it. Well, it seems we know who's keeping things right behind the scenes. It's usually me. Yes, I know about the delete video. It's very persistent on this computer. It likes to install itself back. But okay. So it seems like it's working now. Let's give this a try and see if this actually works. I really hope it does. But if it doesn't, I blame everybody else but me. Fair enough? Good. Glad we solved that. Okay. Let's find this. So as I said, this is going to involve a bunch of people from Sweet Baby Inc. 3 of them and 1 former member. And the panel is called The Secret Handshake, How Writers and Players Build whatever it's called. I don't really care. Here we go.
Hi, welcome everybody. It's really nice to see you, your little squares. So
is it too quiet? If it's too quiet, let me know, and I'll do something about it. Yep. But this is you could see Camerin Wild, Maxine Sophia Wolf, Pelo Tsavoussis, and James Wright. James Wright is a former Sweet Baby Inc. member, and he doesn't work for them anymore. It's a bit quiet. Okay. There's a plugin for this. I know that. Normally, this is not a problem. I really hate this. I do not understand why everything has to break. Literally, live stream with Raven, everything works fine. This, it's like, oh, haha, enjoy. Let's see. You said it was a bit quiet. The volume on the video is quiet. Yeah, I figured. Give me just a second. I'm going to fix this in an easy way. Okay. And an easy way meaning that I'm going to just throw this video into a thing and up the volume and then put it back because I'm lazy and don't want to download some extension. Even if it probably would work better. But yeah, this stream's going great so far. Yep, no problems, nothing. Wow, I should have done this sooner, right? Okay, this looks like it should be better. Okay. Hopefully they'll be fixed. But as I said, while I'm waiting for that to be done, these are 3 people from Sweet Baby Inc. Camerin Wild, Maxine Sophia Wolf, Bryson Tsavoussis, and then James Wright. This is a stream from literally 4 days ago. So we are getting to this stream probably before anybody else because nobody else actually looks. And for some reason, I do. You can't be serious that it's going to take 15 minutes to make this. Are you kidding me? Why? Fine. You know what? This is not going to work. Okay. Yeah. I need to find a sound boosting extension. I've burnished Raven's reputation. Fair enough. Let's visit the store. I got to look for a booster here. Add to Chrome. Add extension. There we go. Let's see. Is this any better? Let's see. Extension. Is this any better?
Hi, welcome everybody. It's really nice to see you, your little
It sounded better to me, but I can make even a little higher.
squares. So thank you all for agreeing to be on this panel, The Secret Handshake, How Writers and Players Build Game Worlds Together.
Does it sound better now? Sounds good to you? Okay, good, good. Let me see. I can even make it a little higher, so let me do that. Why does it keep going back down after I'm finished?
Hi, welcome everybody. It's really nice to see you, your little squares. So thank you.
Listen to that background noise. You can hear that background noise. Listen to this. Listen to this background noise.
Hi, welcome everybody. It's really nice to see you, your little squares. So thank you.
Can you not like hear this background noise? Am I the only one hearing like the fan whirring in the background? Like these people are so unprofessional. It's not even funny. Okay.
Thank you all for agreeing to be on this panel, The Secret Handshake, How Writers and Players Build Game Worlds Together. Before we jump into it, I would love to take just a couple of minutes for everybody to introduce themselves. So maybe if you can say a few words about your relationship to narrative design and world building. I know some of you have careers that span far outside of games.
Are we pretending that Maxine Sophia Wolf and Pelo don't actually work with you, Cameron? Are we pretending that's not the case? Also, James Wright used to work for you. So why are you like, oh, I know some people have this. You literally work with them. You literally work with them. Who are you trying to kid? Who are you trying to kid here? Like, you literally work with them.
And then also maybe a favorite example of the quote unquote secret handshake in action. So I will. I can kick it off since I'm hosting the panel.
Ugh. I already want to stop.
And I would say favorite example of a secret handshake, either recently or of all time. You don't have to.
So, am I wrong that they didn't actually describe what a secret handshake is? Is this just me? They launched into it and said it's a secret handshake, and they're going, best example of a secret handshake. What? What in this context is a secret handshake, please? Can you explain that? I see Amy places. Hello, Master. My AI treasure doesn't live show late videos, but I hope you're doing great. Go hard to expose all those people. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Maxine is definitely maxed, probably. I was going to talk about dog whistle. Yeah, but wait, is it Sunday? No, it's not. It's not Sunday, Jose Taco. It's. I'm doing his show kind of as a new thing. I already messed up the stream, but it seems to be working fine now, which is great. But again, am I wrong that nobody here actually mentioned what a secret handshake in this context is? So it's like, give us the best example of a thing we didn't explain. Okay, that's nice.
Yeah, you don't have to limit yourself. So my name is Camerin Wild, and
you literally have labels. We can see them and read them.
And I'm a writer.
Didn't Cameron introduce him? Whatever he is, didn't it introduce itself at the beginning? And I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to use their names and pronouns interchangeably. And it's not because I'm trying to be nice. It's because I genuinely just don't care. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. Like, I genuinely don't care.
And narrative designer from Montreal, Canada. I've been at this for about 5 years now.
He's a designer. Sorry. It is a designer from Cameron's a designer from Montreal, Canada. Do you want to mention who you work for, Cameron? Are we getting to that part or no? No, we don't want to mention that.
I think I'm currently working as a writer on a game called Usual June with Finji and the rest of the folks at our company, Sweet Baby.
You finally mentioned it.
And also working on another couple of unannounced projects. And I've got a background actually in film, documentary, and fiction. And I think my favorite current example of the secret handshake is 1,000 Times Resist.
What? I gotta look that up. What is 1,000 times? I have never heard of it. It's a game. The heck? Okay. 1,000 times resists. Let's see. Is a thrilling sci-fi adventure. The years unknown disease spread by alien invasion keeps you underground. You're a watcher and you dutifully fulfill your own purpose in serving the All-Mother until the day you discover a shocking secret that changes everything. It's overwhelmingly positive. But like, again, am I wrong that they didn't explain what that actually means? Like, they didn't explain what that actually means. What does a secret handshake in this context actually mean? Did they? They're like, my favorite example of this thing I still didn't explain is this thing I'm also not going to explain. That's great. Great. Thanks. Very helpful. I feel so enlightened by this information.
So I will hand it off to Maxine. Would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Cameron. My name is Maxine Sophia.
Oh my God, get a really good microphone. God, what is that? Like my ears are being molested by giant cats.
Wolf. I'm a writer and
It hurts to listen to. What is that?
narrative designer in the industry. Been working in the industry for about...
Are you driving in? Are you actually? Is the background virtual and you're driving in a car down a wind tunnel? Is that what you're doing? That's what it sounds like you're doing.
4 years now.
It hurts my ears.
I've worked with companies like Remedy and...
Stop talking! What the heck? What the heck? They had this premiere on Steam. On Steam! I kid you not. This is a part of a sale called LudoCon or LudoNaraCon or whatever. And they had this on Steam. What in the world is that? Like, you couldn't even be bothered to use like an iPod headphone? Like, really? What is this?
And tons of different indies and kind of been around the block a little
My ears!
bit. And my background is in traditional fiction, so
I can't understand a word you're saying because all I keep thinking is, wow, this person needs a new mic.
I studied literature in
This panel's 50 minutes long. They're literally going to be talking this way the entire time. Really? Really?
college. I got my foyer into professional storytelling with short fiction that I got published in different magazines, and I'm still doing that. I've got a novel in the works. So that's me. And in terms of my favorite example of the Secret Handshake, I was very tempted to do FromSoft, but we'll talk about FromSoft a little later. So I went and I picked an oldie but a goodie, and I'm going to say Portal. Because
Portal. Okay. Again, that would be really insightful if you explained what you mean by the secret handshake in this context. You're saying it like it's something that we should all know. And if it's the name of the panel, wouldn't the appropriate thing to do is be to, I don't know, explain that? Like up front? Say, hey, this is about the secret handshake. Here's what it is. What? What is this?
has such a concise and effectively told story, and I think his world building is also very concise and effective. And I think
its world building is concise and effective. Yep, because that's how you describe world building. Yep.
I think it's a good example of the secret handshake.
Can you explain what the secret handshake is, please? In this context, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. You guys haven't explained what it is. Yeah, secret handshake can refer to several things. Yes, so what exactly is it in this circumstance? What is it? What are you referring to? This is literally a professional panel. This is supposed to be a panel at like a professional con. And the name of the panel is The Secret Handshake, how writers and players build game. Wait, hold on. game worlds or whatever it's called. I forget the name. I don't really care. But they just don't explain what it is. You literally have it in the title. Jeremy User Review says, I rewinded the video to make sure they didn't explain what a secret handshake is. It's so secret you can't know what it is, guys. You can't know it. I'm sewing my portal. You can't know what it is, guys. You just can't know what it is. That's the problem. It's so secret. It's like a secret handshake. They do it in such a specific way. Yeah.
I'm going to pass to you, James.
Please. Oh, God. Oh, God. Please have a better mic. Please. 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 I will beg you.
Hello.
Ah! Not again. What is this? What is this? What are you doing?
I'm James Wright. I am a writer, narrative designer, other things too, but mostly narrative.
We had a porn bot. What? Oh, it's gone now, hopefully.
Writing. I have been in the industry since about 2021.
You've been in the industry since 2021, and between now and then, you couldn't be bothered to get a better mic. What is wrong with you?
My first project I worked on was for the Panic Playdate, which is very cool.
Yeah, Playdate. Okay, right there. The first thing they worked on was for Playdate. Playdate is literally what Sweet Baby Inc. made a bunch of games on Playdate. It was one of the first things they did. One was, I think, Reservation Dog or whatever it's called. And James Wright was one of the people who worked on it. So it's a former Sweet Baby Inc. person.
I've since worked with Deck 9 Games, Compulsion.
Oh my God, get a better microphone. Yeesh.
For their play.
Again, guys, I want to make this very clear. We are 3 minutes in. This is a 50-minute panel. And they're all going to be talking with this mic quality. And they still haven't explained what the secret handshake even is, and they keep referring to, but we're just going to figure it out, right? It's so secret, we can't know the answer. Got it. Got it. Okay.
I'm currently working on freelance on a project called Roller Girl with a small studio called Pushing Vertices out of Toronto. Excited about that. And then for one of my examples of the, oh yes, my background is in comics actually. So there is some world building stuff that happens with comics that's very exciting. Yeah, my example of the Secret Handshake, my favorite example, a much older game, Grim Fandango from 1998. From LucasArts. My favorite thing about that is that it does introduce us to an afterlife built on the Mexican Dia de los Muertos, and it uses like a film noir narrative as well, and it works even if you're unfamiliar with either of those things. So it's a beautifully told story.
That's nice. Can you explain what the secret handshake is, please? No? Okay.
That introduced me to a world I'd never seen before. And with that, I'll pass it to Pelo.
Well, thank you very much. Hey, everybody.
He's using an iPod mic, and even then, he already sounds better than the rest of them. I guarantee all of you have... Look, okay, I got to give props here. I'm going to give props. Camerin and Pelo both have microphones. At least the crappy ones that are headphones. The other two just didn't even care. I'm going to boost the volume a bit more because I still can't hear a dang thing these people are saying. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. It might just be because I don't understand what they're saying.
I'm Pelo Tsavoussis. I am also a narrative designer and a writer. I'm
very quiet.
Working in games. I've been in games for about 5 years now. I've worked on a number of projects, kind of spanning all over the place, from indie to AAA, all over different stages of production. And previous to working in games, I was actually a professional chef for about 15 years. Kind of worked all over the place.
Okay, so let me explain this. Pelo actually has zero experience in making games. He was a former chef that they hired straight out of being a chef for Sweet Baby Inc. I kid you not. They have no background in this. They've been doing it for a while. I'll give them credit for it. Pelo's give them credit, but they've literally been doing this for a while. They are literally straight. They're a chef. That's literally what they do. Best because they mean conveying the story believably to players without breaking immersion. That might be, but maybe they should explain that since it's the title of their little panel here. Just saying.
Traveled the world a little bit, got to see a bunch of really fun stuff. You meet a bunch of really cool people. And I think that even though it's not directly related to any of this stuff, there's a certain amount of storytelling that happens in cooking. And
Did he seriously just say that? I get it. I'm not saying that there isn't, like, you can't tell a story with like a well-cooked dish. I get it. But you're on a panel talking about building game worlds. That's literally what this is about. And you're saying, well, my experience as a chef was experience in making stories because I made dishes. Yes, making dishes of certain kinds is technically telling a story in a different way. But in this context, as after you just explained that you have no background in game development, like, yeah, just saying, like, again, maybe he's good. I don't know. But, like, weird.
In sort of restoration in general, the application of sort of giving someone a good time, curating an experience for someone, right?
Okay. So I think he's saying, like, because he knows how to, like, make dishes that appease certain people, he knows kind of what to do similarly with games to appease people. I can see the parallel there. I can give that credit. I think it's a weird comparison, but I can get the parallel. Sorry for clocking in late. Didn't get any notifications surprisingly early. Yep. Again, this is going to be a this is going to be a whenever I feel like thing. It's just me. We're just reacting to a panel. It's not going to be a planned show or anything. It's just going to be like whenever I feel like it. So it's good, but it'll be available for everybody to watch afterwards. But yeah, so that's what we're doing here.
So it's a little bit more subtle, but it's definitely there. And I had to do it. I think my favorite example currently is Elden Ring. It's an extreme example for what we're.
Okay, a lot of people are coming in and saying that we went live and what's happening. Again, this is like a new spur of the moment show that I'm doing just me. We're reacting to a panel. I might do more of these in the future. It's not like a scheduled thing or anything. It's just going to be a sporadic. I wanted to react to something, and doing it by myself would be torture. So you will share my pain. Thank you. Hopefully that clarifies. Mods, if you want to let people know when they come in, if they ask, because I just want to get through this. We're literally only 5 minutes in, and I hate my life choices.
We're talking about, because like I would never tell anybody to attempt to make a FromSoft game unless you are FromSoft. But I think what's really special about it, Elden Ring specifically, is that it's not only an action RPG Souls-like game. For those who want it to be, it's also it's kind of an archaeological mystery for you to explore and understand. And
Elden Ring is not just a game, it's an archaeological mystery. Huh? I get it. I get what he's saying, but like, that's a really, really surface level, shallow approach to take, in my opinion. Because again, it's not like they're taking actual like archaeology stuff and putting it in. Like, they're making things up. And I'm sorry. When was the last time that anybody played a Dark Souls game to like, I'm going to explore and be an archaeologist? Like, nobody ever does that. No one there. None. My brain is dying. Mine's already way gone.
Talk about with other people who are interested. And so it creates this whole other sect of experience and interaction that doesn't necessarily have to be for everybody, you
know? He just explained how certain people could see things differently. right? And how he could see Dark Souls. Some people will see it as a Dark Souls game, and some people will see it as an archaeological experience. But then he also said not everybody will see it the same. You just said that. Okay, just saying. You just repeated yourself.
Yeah.
That's about it.
God, this is torture.
Thanks everybody for sharing your backgrounds. Also,
Please don't share anymore. Just don't. Thanks for sharing your background. I don't want to hear any more of it. Thanks. Okay, now that we are 6 minutes in, Cameron, counting on you here. Can you please explain what you mean by the secret handshake in this situation? Please, I beg you. Your whole stream is about this, and you didn't explain it yet.
Hello, I want to know your thoughts about the narrative design in the movie The Menu.
Is the original video 50 minutes long? Yes.
At some point, we could take that into another conversation. So yeah, we called our panel, the Secret Handshake, how writers and players build game worlds together. And this is, at its essence, a chat about world building.
Can you explain what the secret handshake is? I would love to know the secret handshake, please.
How you can approach it so that you don't burn out your creative team, and so that you also don't burn out the goodwill and the interest of your players. So it's really about like a line of trust that goes in both directions. So
is that what the secret handshake is, or what is it? Can you please just be blunt and say the secret handshake is this? Here's some examples.
I'm wondering if we can just start out talking. This is an open question to all of you. What are some of the tools that you found as writers and narrative designers that are really effective for capturing a player's imagination and helping their understanding of the world that you're creating?
Oh, this should be good. But again, it would be really helpful if I actually explained what this means. Again, secret handshake is what exactly? Hello? No? Okay.
You're asking them to inhabit.
You're asking us to inhabit, but then when we don't, you get mad and call us bigots and racist and sexist. Is that how this works? Just checking.
I'm happy to start if no one else
Oh God, Windy Tuttle voice again.
wants to jump in. I can pass to someone else in a second.
Go ahead.
For me, I can think of two really important tools that you can
I could think of an important tool, a new microphone. You should get one.
use as a writer, as a narrative designer, as a fiction writer, as a game writer, whatever.
You got a lot of titles, and you can't do any of them right.
I think one is blank spaces. I think there's an impulse often from executives sometimes, so it's not always the writer's fault, to flesh everything out to make sure that every detail is filled, to put a sign on every corner of the world that tells you about that corner of the world. And I think that this ultimately goes back to this,
Pelo, what are you doing? Sit still.
core literature idea of show, don't tell, but often letting the player see a blank space and filling in what that blank space could hold is more effective than outright telling.
Wait. So, you think a thing that engages gamers is to, if you were going to say don't overdo it on the detail, that'd be fine. But you're saying purposely leave blank spaces so the gamer can make it up on their own. So in other words, you can do less work and the gamers just to figure it out. Was that what I'm getting at? What? Guys, don't you just love playing a game and there's just a blank space? You go, you know what? I'm just going to make something up. What does that even mean? What does that even mean?
Telling them what is in that blank space. So that would be my first example. And then secondly, I think always...
The live stream covered 6 minutes of the 50 minutes and 40 minutes, 6 longer. The total length will be this video is 333 minutes. Well, we had some problems in the beginning, so it doesn't count. But hopefully, I only have about 2 hours, so if I can't finish it, we'll finish it next time.
Character is the way into anything. I think that worlds are most effectively told through the perspective of a character in that world. and I'm going to reference one of my favorite books on world building.
Can you know it'd be great? You got a favorite book on world building? Can you get a favorite mic? Like, please?
Jeff Vandermeer's Wonder Book.
What? I have no idea what this is. Okay. Okay. Jeff Vandermeer's Wonder Book is from the New York Times bestselling author Jeff Vandermeer. Wonder Book is the definitive guide to writing scientific fiction and fantasy, offering accessible, example-rich, illustrated approach for writers and would-be writers that emphasizes the importance of playfulness as well as pragmatism. It's a fully illustrated book that basically tells you how to write science fiction and fantasy. Well, yes, this really makes me very much like, wow, you clearly have all the experience you need.
He kind of delineates this difference between world.
It's a kid's book, is it? I gotta look. How many pages is this thing? It's 384 pages, so it's not a kid's book. At least as far as that's mean. So, but it's like a book. It's like, this book will help you do other things. Cool.
Building done at a world view and world building done at a story view. World view is kind of this omniscient.
Oh my God, this lack of microphone is so bad. Like, I really.
An unbiased truth of the world, and he reminds us that that's kind of like impossible to create, because even as the creators of a world, we're coming to the thing we're creating with our own biases, our own understandings. And then the antithesis to this is story view, which is the world seen through the perspective of the characters. And I think that is often a more meaningful way to tell people about the world is, what does a character think about the world and how are they.
You heard it here, guys. The most meaningful way to get your gamers involved is to tell them, what does the character you're playing think about the world? So, like most games, right? I mean, I'm sorry. Most games that are open like that literally explain it to you. Am I wrong?
Relating it rather than what is the objective truth of this world. And I think we see that in narrative Bibles all the time. Very much there's a focus on this objective, omniscient truth, and less so there's a focus on what characters see as the truth. And I think trying to access world building always is better if it's done through character.
You've said that already.
And so those have been my two right off the dome, quick things.
Can you explain what they were again? All I heard was lots of word salad, and you were just munching while you were in your car driving through a windy tunnel. So I really didn't understand a single thing you said. And all I got from that was use a book to help you and write things from the perspective of the world and the character, which pretty much anybody could have told you. Okay. Thanks.
James or Pelo, fight for it. Who wants to go next?
I'll jump in real quick.
Example of the Secret Handshake.
My bad. Hold on.
Space. So that would be my first example, and then secondly, I think always character.
I accidentally hit the button.
Does really well is the TV show Severance.
Our own understandings, and then the antithesis. Bibles all the time. Very much there's a focus on this objective, omniscient truth.
I'll jump in real quick. Thank you, Maxine.
I was gonna say, sorry, I hit. There's 103 of you here, and Raven isn't even here. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Suffer with me. We're gonna continue this. Please don't leave. If I have to suffer, you do too. Thanks.
I've got one, and then I'm gonna piggyback a bit.
From windy tunnel to windy tunnel. Maxine and James both have like their backgrounds are virtual. They're in a car together in like a windy tunnel on their phones, and that's how they're doing this.
Off something you said, Maxine, if I can. For me, it's starting with a world that is familiar, and like changing one small crucial element in that world is very exciting, because you think you know, as a player, audience, you think you know what the world is going to be, and then it changes in a way. And then taking that simple change and building out from that. So
let me see if I'm hearing you correctly. Your idea to help with world building is to take a piece of the world that's recognizable and then change it, and then make a bunch of changes based off that one change. Okay.
One example I can think that does really well is the TV show Severance, which takes literal work-life balance, where you have a device in your head that separates your work self from your home self, and that's an incredible idea on
The device in your head is called a brain.
its own, and then it takes that and spirals out. Okay, what could you do with this? Taking that further, and then the people, it's digital identity and stuff as well, but it uses that as the kernel to kind of build from, upending what players think, or viewers, audiences, whatever think of it, think they know, or even like changing genre, where it's like, I thought this was a slice of life story, but it's actually horror. Is kind of interesting, and
They're all nodding like they understand what he's saying, and they all don't. You could tell. One of them's like asleep. Big says we're all suffering in solidarity with you. Well, thank you.
To your point about story view and through the point of view of the character, FromSoft again. Sekiro is my favorite FromSoft game, and it's the only one that has a distinct character. You play as Wolf, and you see the world through his eyes as you navigate through the space. So you're learning as
Yes, you play as a character and you see the world through the character's eyes. This is very common. Yes, thank you.
he learns, which is there's no you don't make a build in that game. It's just the one character. So it's a little bit different from the other FromSoft games, but that's the one that I think really speaks to that idea about character first, with the narrative design. Pelo?
I really like what you guys
I don't feel like I've learned a single thing from this, aside from get a book to do your job for you.
said. I don't have a huge amount to add to it, honestly.
You're a chef. You didn't have much to add to it to begin with. Sorry, not knocking on chefs, but you're supposed to be like a narrative writer and stuff like that. You literally have no experience, and you're just a chef for like a bunch of long time. They're like, hey, we're making a company called Sweet Baby Inc. You're a chef, right? Let's hire you.
I think I hate to do it, but FromSoft in general is a great
What is with you guys loving FromSoft? It's so annoying.
example of that sort of like character storytelling, because they're so they really just they keep it to its most essential parts.
Yeah.
Who is this character? What's their place in the world? And even though their dialogue can sometimes feel a little bit like archaic or weird, they're very much expressing their perspective on the world through that dialogue. And even in terms of like some of the item descriptions and stuff like that, the tone can really vary from like thing to thing and from culture to culture within that world. And you can tell just by reading the
Word salad. Yum, 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 yum. Tasty. That's all I got from that. Also, I'm falling asleep. Like it's so bad. 11 minutes in. Wow, that's fun. Oh boy, a caffeinated mint. Yes, please.
You're welcome.
You keep working. You have article strike. And I have Torture to watch.
the tone of it, who it's addressing,
Thanks.
who is it referring to, who does it see as good versus bad. There's a subtlety there around like, oh, this is a piece of information from someone's perspective, so it already has a spin on it, and then that becomes like, oh, well, who has that spin? Why did they think about that way? And that's that work that we start to do in our subconscious, where we're just kind of like, who is this character and why do they see the world like this, and how would I see the world then if I was in this position? You know?
Sorry, I fell asleep.
Yeah. To jump off.
Go ahead,
Oh, I'm
Maxine.
sorry, James. No, I'm sorry, James.
Oh my God, both of you with your terrible microphones talking at the same time. God, it's like cats are screeching in my ears.
Just to jump off of that, Pelo, like I agree. I think FromSoft is a really good example of this. Like Gold Mask, that weirdo with the sunflower on his head, he has a different perspective on the Erd tree than Mr. Crucible Man from the DLC. I forget all their names, but you know what I'm
You love FromSoft, but you forget all the names of the characters. Got it. Okay. Yep. You're really convincing me that you're a big fan of these people, especially when you don't know anything. Yep. Sure. I got it.
talking about. And I think sometimes there's an instinct to shy away from contradiction.
They're literally almost literally smelling their own farts in 6 minutes. Yep.
In your world building, but I think the world around us is full of contradictions, and two people can look at the same thing and draw completely different I mean, just look at American politics right now, baby. So
they had to bring American politics into it, of course, because we need that comparison. Also, just want to throw out there that you literally just said that two people could look at the same thing and have different perspectives, yet your whole business model of Sweet Baby Inc. is to push these stuff into games because people need to see it the way that you want them to see it, but you just explained that that's not going to happen, so your job's meaningless then. Yes? Just saying.
it's like contradiction is core to what makes a world feel real, and I think, yeah.
American politics, baby. Yeah, I want to take that, but it's Hollywood, baby, and then it's American politics, baby.
Yeah, engaging with it from that story perspective.
Yeah, Maxine is definitely trans. And as I said in the beginning of the stream, I'm going to use pronouns interchangeably. And it's not because I'm trying to be respectful or whatever. It's literally because I just can't be bothered to remember them. And it's not, look, I like to be a nice person, but like, if you're going to make your pronouns weird things and change how you look and whatever, like, I don't. Sorry.
As opposed to that like worldview, it encourages more contradiction, which I think counterintuitively makes the world make more sense in some ways, because it feels like
moral contradictions make the world make more sense. What? Am I wrong? I gotta hear that again.
Encourages more contradiction, which I think counterintuitively makes the world make more sense in some.
Moral conflicts counterintuitively make the world make more sense. What? What does that even mean? What does that even mean? What is that? I don't understand what that means. I gotta hear that again. That can't be what they said. I gotta hear that again.
Real, and I think, yeah, engaging with it from that story perspective, as opposed to that like worldview, it encourages more contradiction, which I think counterintuitively makes the world make more sense in some.
Nope. That's exactly what they said. Okay. I'll tell you where the rebels are. Just make it stop. Yeah.
Ways, because it feels like a world that multiple people can have different relations to, as opposed to just like a monolith that a bunch of people are stacked into. Sorry, James.
And it also kind of forces your audience to then make a call on stuff as well if they're getting conflicting information. You know?
Yeah.
It forces your audience to make determination based because if they're getting conflicting things. Okay.
Go ahead, James. Sorry.
Does Wild work for Sweet Baby Inc.? Oh, so let me reintroduce people. We have Camerin Wild, who works at Secret Handshake, Inc., Maxine Sophia Wolf, who works at Sweet Baby Inc., Pelo Tsavoussis, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, who works at Sweet Baby Inc., and James Wright, who worked in the past with Sweet Baby Inc. So it's a whole panel of them. Isn't that great? You came here and expected one, and you got four.
I love that ambiguity. One thing I would add to that, just that, like,
can you please, sir, can you please pull over your vehicle and get out of the wind tunnel and actually talk with a normal microphone? Thank you.
I was talking to my friend about playing Sekiro, and he asked me, we're talking about, not just the story itself, but like, why is this NPC in this location? Why is this NPC in this location?
Maybe because they decided to. Like, guys, I never like played a game and went like, I wonder why is NPCs here? Like, it's usually pretty clear if there's a reason the NPC is there. Usually.
Item in this location and stuff like that as well, like adds to the story. It's like, oh, it's not just randomly placed. Like this item is here because it speaks to a certain thing that's happened in the past here, or this is tied to.
This guy is talking about like set dressing, but he's talking about it in the most like word salad way to make it sound like amazing, but it's really not. It's just the same thing. I could have said, so you're talking about set dressing, having items in certain places and certain things to tell people certain stories about past events and things like that. Makes perfect sense. But why are you not? Yeah.
A certain character in a certain way. And that's really fascinating too. Like, as far as world building goes, it's not just, it's part of, I guess, like inventory, things that you pick up, things you discover are in places for a reason. And that tells its own story.
Yes. That was pretty straightforward, but okay.
Yeah, I want to kind of pick up on something that I think both Pelo and Maxine you've mentioned.
They got to be very. I love watching how careful they are because they have to like. They have to not say the wrong pronouns. So they're trying to be very careful. You can tell if you pay attention.
Which to me kind of speaks to how you can express the values of a world and the setting by kind of sketching around the negative space. So you were talking, Maxine, about having two characters who have conflicting views on something that's happening. And Pelo, you were talking about how that tension allows the player to insert their own understanding. So that's kind of like a third, point in that triangulation. So I wanted to like get a little bit more into what it looks like to have a comfortable for both creators and for players, a comfortable balance between what is written into a game and what is left for player interpretation. So,
but that's the thing you guys aren't really good at doing. Just saying.
Yeah, maybe just like talking a little bit more about what that balance looks like.
I'm interested to hear what they're going to say here because I want to know what the balance would be. What? Someone said something? So I guess the transfer behind Maxine is a metaphor. Oh my god, I didn't notice that. That's hilarious. If it's on purpose, then it's funny. I'll actually give them credit for that. I want to mention that we are 15 minutes into this panel that is 50 minutes long, and they still haven't explained exactly what they mean by the secret handshake, which would have been great if they had actually like explained what they mean in this context. I get the idea of it, but it would have been nice if one of the first things they did before like introducing themselves was actually explain that like more specifically. Just saying. It would have made it easier for me to understand.
The stare of who's going to answer first. I mean, like, if you're asking how to create this balance between what you're giving the player and what they are creating for themselves, I think it's a line that is different for every project, likely, and it depends on the type of story you're trying to tell, the type of tone, the type of game. But I think an effective balance, it's a hard question to answer. I have a lot of opinions about in development. In terms of a final product, I'm throwing out a phone for help here because it's a great question.
You volunteered to ask the question, to answer the question, started to try to answer it, couldn't do it, and then now you're phoning for help. What? Did they? Please tell me they didn't actually say that.
Likely, and it depends on the type of story you're trying to tell, the type of tone, the type of game. But I think an effective balance, it's a hard question to answer. I have a lot of opinions about in development. In terms of a final product, I'm throwing out a phone for help here, because
They're gonna literally vote for help on the panel. What? What are you doing? What is this? Did you look? I'm not trying to be mean, but like, did you guys not prepare for this? Has anyone actually mentioned gameplay? Not really. No. Also, I still don't know what the secret. I don't know what the secret handshake is. Still, I get the idea what they're going for, but they haven't explained it. They volunteers to answer the question and literally goes in the middle of it. I can't answer this. It's so difficult. I need you to phone a friend. This isn't this isn't Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
it's a great question, and it's hard to answer only because it is so unique, I think, to...
It's a hard question to answer because it's so unique. You answered it already. Okay, just saying.
Yeah, I think you raise a good point in that it is kind of different from project to project and even media to media, you know, like the level of audience interaction, the level of like variability, even the context of the story and the themes of that media going into it, right?
These people don't even know what they're talking about. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm trying to pay attention to these people, and I'm really trying. Please, back me up. You see, I'm clearly trying to understand this. They do not know what they're talking about. They have waffled on for 16 minutes, and I have not gotten a meaningful piece of information out of this, aside from, here's a book I like reading that helped me write. According to Moby Games, Cameron has worked on 9 games, Maxine has worked on 6, and Pelo and James have received special thanks on 1 game each. Yep. I have a lot of opinions. I'm going to phone for help because no actual ideas, just want to echo the room. Yep, probably. Look, I'm trying to be nice. But like, I literally have no idea what they're saying, and I've taken no meaningful information from this so far. Oh, God.
But I think maybe in terms of the end result, leaving room for speculation, I think, is really important.
The end result is important to leave room for speculation. Huh? Okay.
If there ever is an opportunity for a question to, not all questions, but for some questions to sort of remain unanswered or open-ended or with multiple interpretations, that will always be fertile ground for not only discussion between like audience members, but also just speculation for yourself, like for any individual who...
Wait, I have no idea, dude, I'm sorry. I know you have experience as a chef. I have no idea what you're saying. I feel like these people are just saying a lot of different things, and they're not actually explaining anything. They're not explaining anything. They're just talking about like, oh, I'm going to use these words and weave a narrative. And it's like, I have literally no idea what you're talking about.
Might feel engaged by that story or by that media, you know? If they're sort of left afterwards thinking and considering and speculating on those little missing pieces of information, seeing as, I mean, because we're kind of like natural pattern recognizers as humans.
Hey guys, humans are natural pattern recognizers. You learned something new today.
That's kind of what we do. That's one of the things that we're really good at as a species. And so...
Again, I feel like they asked a very simple question and none of them can answer it. Literally, one of them asked to phone a friend, and this one's explaining how speculation is good. I have no idea what's going on here. Can you answer the question yes or no? If the answer is no, shush.
When we start to build those patterns, we build the patterns in the story, and we're starting to come up with answers to questions we haven't even heard yet by the time that we hear them. And in that,
you're coming up to answers to questions you haven't heard yet by the time you heard them. Okay. But how does that have anything to do with what the question that was asked? And I'll be completely honest with you guys. I have no idea what the question was at this point. because they've all talked all over themselves. I don't know what's going on here. All I'm going to say is this LudoCon thing was literally on Steam. Like, literally on Steam. Like, streamed on Steam. On Steam. Did people actually watch this? I have to check. How many people watched this? $135 in 5 days. Wonder why?
That sense, by the time.
And by the way, I'm just going to be completely honest with you guys. Probably 5 of those views were me. So just throwing that out there.
You've sort of gotten a sense of what you're engaging with. If there's room there for stuff that you want to keep thinking about, I think that's a good sign for.
I don't understand what you're saying.
A good balance in your world building.
Yeah.
Okay, that didn't answer the question.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Come on, James, save us. Answer the question. Come on, please, help us. Oh my God, you watched this 5 times. You're not in a straitjacket. No. I watched parts of it. I always, when I find something, I like to see if there's anything in it like that's important information or whatever, then I can make a video on if I find something. And if it's not, I just figured, okay, let's do these streams and whatever. But we are literally 18 minutes in, and I still don't know what the secret handshake really is. Nor have I taken anything away from this, aside from there's a book by Jeff Vandermeer that Maxine likes to use to help write science fiction. Okay.
Yeah, I think, and that sort of like, you don't want to hold people's hand, I guess, but like you want to make sure that they're able to kind of add their own thing to it, add their own understanding of the world. One of my favorite games recently is Hollow Knight. It's not recent anymore, but Hollow Knight has like a vague-ish story. Like there's never been like, this is the story of Hollow Knight, because
What did he just say? Did he just say that Hollow Knight doesn't have a story? Did he just say that Hollow Knight doesn't have much of a story? Did he just say that the entire game is the story? It's one of his favorite games that he didn't understand. You work. I'm here. Yes, but it's coming out of my character. I have to hear that again.
you don't want to hold people's hand, I guess, but like you want to make sure that they're able to kind of add their own thing to it, add their own understanding of the world. One of my favorite games recently is Hollow Knight. It's not recent anymore, but Hollow Knight has like a vague-ish story. Like there's
Hollow Knight has a vague-ish story. Dude, literally the story. Look, I'm not saying Hollow Knight has as fleshed out of a story as some of the other games. So if that's what you're trying to say, then that makes sense, because they do leave a little. They give you bits and pieces and leave it up to you to kind of fill in. But saying it's got a vague-ish story is simply not true. If you want to say that it leaves more elements of the story in pieces for you to connect together, that's fine. But literally, there's a ton of this game that is story-driven. Okay, whatever.
never been like, this is the story of Hollow Knight, because that
It's never been, this is the story of Hollow Knight, except for all the tomes that explain the story of Hollow Knight in the game. You know those things where you read them and they give you lore? Yep, those things.
ends the conversation in a way. Like it's like people can have like, I think this might be this, they think it might be that. Like there's a bit more of that push-pull happening.
So, in other words, theory videos.
There's lore in the world you can discover and so on, but like it's not like here's what happened in this world, and that's exciting because it means that like the game can live on beyond. It's like, you know, once you complete it, there's still things to discuss. But I'll also add like,
Yes, games have theories attached to them. Yes, this is a thing. that games do. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for explaining that. I completely follow now. Guys, did you know that when you play games and they don't give you every piece of information of the story, that it leaves room for theories and videos and it can make the game live on afterwards? Did you know that? Wow. I feel so enlightened. I feel like I've learned something new today that makes this whole panel worth it. It only took 18 minutes to get to this point. God help me.
Games are a living thing. Like, they're not, once the game is released, you know, there might be, sorry, the question was about like effective balance. And I think that like it
Wow. Finally, someone referenced the question.
might not be clear upon release. It may take a couple years. Someone may come back to a game and say, actually, this we judged this one wrongly or incorrectly. Like, there, you know, this thing we talk about like jank or something where it was kind of fussy, but that's the thing. That's the kind of, you know, element that makes the narrative sing in a way. You may have to come back to a thing later, which is exciting as well.
Yeah, honestly, I've been revisiting a lot of movies that didn't get a lot of accolades in like the 90s and early 2000s, because I think that was sort of like the heyday of the Oscars. And
We need a clip. I don't want to use clips that much, but yeah, I feel like this is my mood right now.
I want to die.
Janky games make the narrative sing. Yep. Didn't you know? Guys, I learned that games can have theories in them today, and they can create theory. People can create theory videos on them if you don't give them every piece of information, and that keeps the games alive. I've learned something new today.
and you know, like big Hollywood names and stuff like that. And honestly, I think The Mummy is an all-time fantastic movie that did not
Why are you all laughing? He's saying that he thinks The Mummy didn't get enough attention. Okay. So why are you all laughing? What's funny about this? Are you laughing in agreement?
get nearly
Hell
enough
yeah.
credit for how good it was. And
Perfect
the world
piece of
that it
art.
created. Yeah, wonderful. Excellent performances by people, but also like the world
Excellent performances by people. Yep. I'm sure he watched The Mummy.
was super engaging. And it was based loosely on some real world, you know, mythology and
The Mummy had a bunch of good performances by people, and it was based off of real world mythology. Yep. Really, really selling me that you watched The Mummy, dude.
Egyptology and stuff like that, but it also had lots of room to breathe, lots of room to be silly,
Yeah.
and to sort of establish rules within that world that created stakes for
Name one of the actors in The Mummy.
those characters that they followed through to the end, you know?
Yeah, and I know I earlier said it's hard to give advice on a good balance.
I want to mention that the guy brought up The Mummy and said how much he liked it, and couldn't even give a name of a character or explain who was in it, and said people did good stuff and that it was based off of archaeology and stuff. Okay.
Balance because things vary so much. But I think if I had to come up with a general rule that I would just send out to the world.
Thought you were phoning a friend. Can you go do that and not come back? Not like in a bad way, like maybe your stream just goes offline. That would make this a little bit more easier to digest.
I think it would be that conciseness is more effective than detail a lot of the time.
Conciseness is more better than detail sometimes, guys. Did you know that? They phoned a friend and that's what they got. Their friend stinks.
Time. And that is really just from my experience, you know, being in, you know, meetings with dev teams, looking at lore Bibles, looking at story and stuff. And I think there is an impulse to overwrite and to overdefine, and this goes back to this idea of blank spaces. And so if I had to give general advice on how to create an effective balance, it would be to resist that impulse to define everything, to write everything down, to have an answer for everything in like a 300-page lore Bible that you send.
Okay. So, in other words, don't over-explain things. That's what you needed to phone a friend for. Okay, just saying.
To all of your disciplines, because it's ultimately probably going to cause, in the course of development, more stagnation than it does lubrication.
Why did you use that word? Why did you use that word? That was the weirdest way to say that. I feel uncomfortable. I gotta hear that again.
Probably going to cause, in the course of development, more stagnation than it does lubrication.
It's gonna cause more stagnation than lubrication. Look at the smile. Like, there are much. You're on a panel. There are much better ways to say that. Like, again, I'm not trying to read into it too much, but like, look at that smile. And the rest of them are like, what have you just said right now? Pelo's like, I am super disappointed. How much longer is this? We're only 21 minutes in. So the 30 more. We may not even finish it. I only got 2 hours, so I only got about an hour left. Well, actually, yeah, I got about an hour or so left. So we'll see.
And it can be a bit of a trap to fall into. So that would be my.
You fall into a trap because it's lubed. Sorry. I couldn't help it. Sorry, my retorts are more entertaining than the panel. Let's be honest.
General advice to not worry too much about nailing everything down. Sometimes
don't nail everything down, guys. Sorry, I'm sorry. I can't set it to faster speed. I can't do it when I'm sharing it. I'm not on a page. I downloaded it, so that way I didn't have to worry about like any issues or ads.
I'm trying to come up with a metaphor about nails and glue. Sometimes
you're trying to come up with a metaphor about nails and glue. Oh my god, these people. What? What? Phrasing?
I can't do that. But you know what I'm trying to get at here.
Yes, we know what you're trying to get at here. You just had to make it into an innuendo.
Sometimes less is more.
Less is more, guys. Less is more.
It's old advice, but it's evergreen, truly.
I mean, if there was ever an opportunity to bring up cooking or menu design, like that's kind of the core principle.
Yep, the professional chef who has no background in gaming, just want to mention that because he got hired by Sweet Baby Inc. after being a chef his whole life, is going to explain to us how narrative design and being a chef go hand in hand. Let's hear what he has to say.
You will get the best version of a dish if you strip it down to its essential parts.
So I take away from this that you're not a good chef either. You just said you will get the best dish by stripping it down to its essential parts. No, you'll get a bunch of ingredients and no food. Am I wrong? I'm trying to be nice here. Am I wrong? Like, I'm really trying, guys. I hope you guys know I am really trying. Did he not just, I gotta hear that again.
I mean, if there was ever an opportunity to bring up cooking or menu design, like that's kind of the core principle. You will get the best version of a dish if you strip it down to its essential parts.
Oh, God.
at a certain point, anything else that you add to the core of it will just distract from the essential flavors that you're sort of trying to present.
So you just said you got the best version of a dish if you take it all apart, but that adding to it is bad because it will distract from the dish. What? Like, look, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think what he's trying to say is like, you got to get it down to its core, and then you pick and choose what you add to it to kind of make it, uniquely spiced and make it whatever that adds to it rather than takes away, because doing too much can take away from it. That's what I think he's trying to say. But he's doing it in such a way that it just makes me feel like I'm taking crazy pills, because literally you could have just said that.
To your diner or whoever, keep
1 star, never come back.
it simple. That's it. Cut away what isn't essential, and you'll be left with a lot more room to breathe.
And don't be
Cut away what isn't essential, and you'll be left with much more room to breathe. I don't know what to say. I get what he's trying to say. I want to give him credit. Like, he's trying to say if you strip it down to its like basic elements, you'll get more. You won't have to like don't constrain yourself in a certain way. But the way he's saying it is just so bad. Like, so bad. I don't. I don't know what to say. I rate his chef skills at 1 very angry possum. Get out of here.
afraid to cut. Like, don't be afraid to say, this is over. This thing that I thought was what this story is. Like what James was saying, sometimes you'll need to return to something, and you'll only... that idea of like, oh, the jank is what makes this game special. Like,
the jank is what makes the game special. Okay, that's not a terrible idea. That's not a terrible concept, because there are some games that have jank in them that like are special. But you're saying to purposely cut away things to make things janky, right? Because it's fun. Am I wrong? Let me rewind. Maybe I'm wrong.
With a lot more room to breathe.
and don't be afraid to cut. Like, don't be afraid to say, this is over. This thing that I thought was what this story is. Like what James was saying, sometimes you'll need to return to something, and you'll only... that idea of like, oh, the jank is what makes this game special. Like, you might not realize that until returning to it.
Why did I decide to do this to myself? At least I'm not doing it alone. Hooray, I feel better. Cut away what isn't essential, that SBI shut their company down. Good luck with that. Cut away what isn't essential. Okay, I'm going to cut out this black person from game. No, not like that. That literally, someone needs to make that meme. Someone needs to make that meme for this. It's like, cut away what isn't essential. Okay, so I'm going to cut out this diversity and inclusion that I didn't need on it. And it's like, no, not like that.
So it's okay to throw something out and to go back to the drawing board every now and then.
It's okay to throw something out and go back to the drawing board every now and then. That's fair. It's a fair statement. I'll give him that.
Things don't have to be locked in really until... Even when the game is out, things aren't locked in, as James mentioned, so, yeah.
I still feel like I have learned nothing of value from this.
Yeah, it has me thinking, especially when...
I also want to clarify yet again that it is now 22 minutes in, and they still have not yet taken a minute to explain exactly what they mean by the secret handshake. Like, I get they're like conveying it to me in a certain way, but not really well, no. And I only got like 45 more minutes here, guys. So if we don't get through it this time, I'm gonna have to do a part 2. Oh boy, isn't that fun?
When it comes time to play test or like to release things to other departments, maybe one of the gauges is if you get 0 questions about the world or about what people are seeing, that's maybe a sign that it's not that engaging, and either you have over explained something or you've made it a little bit too sparse and there isn't that much to engage with. And I
What? Am I wrong that Cameron just said if you don't get questions about your game, you might have explained too much, but also you could not be getting questions because you've made your world too sparse? Am I wrong that Cameron just said that? But they also talked about earlier how it's important to leave gaps in the thing. So they're saying that this is all about balance. And they're saying, well, if you don't get any questions about your world, then it might be because you've over-explained it. But if you also get no questions about your world, it might be because you haven't put enough in it. Okay. Good luck figuring out which one that is. If it's a Sweet Baby Inc. game, I would imagine it's either they put too much into it that didn't need to be there, or that's probably what they did.
Because, you know, we all in this room have experiences of doing consulting work and I guess the game equivalent to sort of script doctoring.
The game equivalent to script doctoring. But guys, just want to make it very clear. Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't do what you think it does. Let's replay that.
Explained something, or you've made it a little bit too sparse and there isn't that much to engage with. Because, you know, we all in this room have experiences of doing consulting work and I guess the game equivalent to sort of script doctoring.
The game equivalent of script doctoring. You heard it here. But by the way, guys, just so you know, Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't change anything. They just take the script and they change it. That's literally what Cameron just admitted to. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? We consult narratively, but we're doing script doctoring. So you take a script and you change it. We don't change scripts. We just change scripts. Okay. Thanks. I'm very wrong. Okay. I don't know how.
Where we will be asked to review world Bibles, game design documents, scripts, you know, that kind of thing for other studios, and can encounter, and also in our own work, I know that I definitely have leaned a little bit too heavily on detail when I'm passing a character bio on to art direction or something, giving them a few too many details. But I'm wondering if any of you can speak to the impulse that might be showing up that causes that over explanation. You know, I can imagine for myself sometimes it's just you're really into it. This is an idea that you've lived with for a million years.
So you over-detailed explain characters because you personally have lived with it for a long time, and that's why you care so much. And that's the impulse to overshare. But you just explained why too much detail isn't a good thing. So I would love to hear what you do with this situation. Please tell me.
And you have all sorts of things in your mind, but I think it can also come from other places. So I'm wondering if anyone wants to speak to that. Sounds like you, James.
Yeah, for me, I think it's fear. I don't mean that like, I mean that sort of, you know, facetiously, but like, you know, any story narrative, you know, a novel, a film, a game, take a long time to write, take a long time to create, to, you know, for everyone to get involved with, to make the final product. And there's the fear comes from like that someone will miss something. because then you spend so much time making the thing, and like, what if they don't see this like side quest, or this like this bit of flavor text on a thing? What if they miss this? What if they miss this? And like that can be overwhelming in a sense where like I want people to experience the full game, and the hope is that they'll come back to it. They'll play a game multiple times, whatever, and find those things later. You don't have to do it on the first pass. You know what I'm saying? Like there's that concern that like you put so much of yourself, so much of your work, you're putting much effort into this work, and then if they don't see the thing, it's like, oh man, like it feels like a not a loss.
Okay. So James is saying that basically, see the chat, as you call this stream therapeutic grift, but I feel worked up than when I came in. I need to cry in a corner. Hey, I never said it was, it's easy content for me. It just hurts my brain, but I don't have to spend extra time, whatever. I'm surprised there's 94 of you here. What are you doing with your lives? But no, James was saying that sometimes you need to go back to a game multiple times to fully understand it. And that you might over worry that people won't experience everything the first time around. Okay. Pretty straightforward.
Loss, but it just, you want them to see all of the world you helped build, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can do a simple Google search to see what Sleep Baby Inc. actually does instead of making up conspiracies to get mad at. Yeah. Guys, I'm making up conspiracies to get mad at when Cameron literally admitted to it live right here just now. Well, not live. I'm watching their thing. Look, I'm understanding that Sweet Baby Inc. is not the demons behind all of making games woke, and I've known that for a while. But if you're gonna pretend that they don't do what we say they do in some capacity, then you're being oblivious to the situation. He literally just admitted it. And a Google search isn't always going to get you the information. That's why I'm here, to find the information. I know who you are. I've seen you on Twitter. I know who you are. And look, you can have whatever opinion you want, but this is not a stream to answer your questions or whatever. If you want to know what woke means, you said I could read it on Google, right? So you can go read this on Google too, right? If you'll excuse me, I'm going to get back to this video where I actually am hearing what they're saying and interpreting it, which is research and, doing what I do. If that bothers you, you don't have to stay. That's fine. If you have a different opinion, you don't have to stay. Just saying.
That's an interesting point. I think related, I was thinking something similarly, but kind of on the other side. There's a certain amount of security with having all your ducks in a row on the dev side, I know how this whole world works. I know what this character said to that guy 300 years ago, and it spun off this whole conflict. And it's like, okay, great. I'm glad you know that. But it doesn't leave room for evolution. It doesn't leave room for the organic shifting of things as development continues, especially in video games. And actually, I recently learned that.
Live roasting, my favorite. Look, I want to be honest. There's a case to be made. You could say, hey, you know what? CBB Inc. isn't the antichrists behind gaming and ruining everything. Yes. They never were, nor did I ever claim that they were. I was just saying that, I'm going to be here and hear their own words. And again, as I see you again, look, if you want to have a discussion, I have an email, mastertds@gmail.com. Email me there. I'm on a stream right now listening to what they have to say and interpreting it. If you want to talk about it and you actually genuinely want to talk about it, and what I mean genuinely is being willing to hear what I have to say and not just having an opinion and deciding that that's the default opinion of everybody, then fine. Send me an email. I mean it. Genuinely. I am fine being challenged. But right now, not the time for challenge. I have a limited amount of time. I'm going to keep watching this stream. If that bothers you, don't have to stay.
Again, another great movie from the late 90s, Gladiator. They didn't have a script going into production when they were greenlit. Well, they had a script, but they hated it. And so they basically shot the movie in chronological order, and they adapted the script as they went along, and it led to a lot of really interesting choices for the characters, and things and scenes and moments that were in the original script turned out to not feel very good by the time they got around to shooting it. And so they would improvise, and the story just sort of evolved organically, right? So giving your creatives that trust as well to like be able to fill in the blanks and to get it as, you know, as so that you're not the sole like lore holder for your whole thing. And on the other side of that too, another aspect of fear, especially in like bigger studios where there's like much longer production schedules, and you've got a lot of like heavy narrative work in the beginning and a lot of heavy narrative work towards the end. In the middle, there tends to be a lot of not necessarily idle time, but less. There's not.
Okay, so you don't actually want to discuss it. You just want to go, look, I'm owning you. Ha ha. No, I'm busy with something else. You want to have a discussion about something else? Come when when I'm actually having a discussion about that. That's all.
Room to necessarily do a bunch of writing yet, but also there's still a lot of catch up to be done on the dev and the art side. So sometimes just having that free time or more open time leads people to want to cross all those T's and dot all those I's and make sure that the world is super detailed and that everyone has all the tools that they need going into the next phase of production, but it doesn't really consider what's also happening at the same time in other.
Okay, I'm just going to say this once, Luz. You say I didn't say on you. I'm not saying you did. I'm saying that if you genuinely want to talk about this, I'm open to talking about it, but just not here. I'm in the middle of doing this, and if you're going to tell me, hey, what you just heard they said, what you just heard them say isn't true when I'm just playing it live, then I don't know what to tell you. You want to have a genuine discussion about what is or isn't woke or what Sweet Baby Inc. does or doesn't do? Please send me an email. If you're not going to do that, then I would question why you're here, because if you don't want to hear this, then you don't have to. That's all. No anger here.
Departments.
Yeah.
So it can end up complicating things later on in the production schedule as well.
Yeah, I like this idea of like where does this impulse to over-define come from? I think you see it in any storytelling medium. I think as a novelist, as a short story writer, you see that in fiction all the time. People trying to write a novel, will try to like create the whole world in their head before they even have a protagonist, or let alone like a theme or a feeling that they're trying to evoke. Jeff Vandermeer in Wonder Book, he talks about like the kernel that stories come from, and often they're a feeling or an experience more than they are like an idea. And I think in games it can be hard because you have people breathing down your neck saying, I need this lore Bible, I need you to give this stuff to the other departments. And I think maybe a way to kind of, if you still have to make a lore Bible for the person who pays your checks, I think it maybe a way to go about it is, instead of trying to define every beat of the world of like Pelo said, like 300 years ago these two people talked to each other, and then there was a war and a portal opened and people came from that portal 500 years ago. Instead of trying to get all that down on paper, it might be better spent focusing on tone and theme and atmosphere and style. These types.
That's all fine and good, but you're saying someone wants, so if someone asks for a lore Bible, you give them a lore Bible. The theme and the tone are things that are established by things in the lore. That's fair. But you're saying, oh, don't spend time coming up with lore because establishing a certain theme or whatever. Okay, but those are established by pieces of lore too. So you have to give something. If you don't give enough lore, how are you going to establish a tone or a theme? You can't. Or maybe you can, but it wouldn't be good.
Types of things that, like, the Gladiator movie, they knew we're making a Gladiator movie. It's going to be gritty. I've never actually seen Gladiator, so I don't know.
Brings up an example. Never heard the example. Okay.
But shoot me on the spot. It's
So what he's saying is go write green vials like the Daredevil comics did. So, I guess. I don't know.
going to be gritty. It's going to have this historical tone. It's also going to be kind of not super rooted in history or whatever it is. And that stuff can persist easier than, John B killed John S 10,000 years ago, and that spawned two factions of the John cult, and they've been doing all. Then there was a ritual 1,000 years. Like that stuff doesn't matter. But
it does. If it's the lore of the world, it very much matters.
Matters when you're giving something to an art person or when you're giving something to a coder is the feeling, is the what it is like for you on an emotional level, and that
the lore doesn't matter. It's what it matters for you on an emotional level. I got to rehear that. I want to make sure I'm hearing it correctly.
You're giving something to an art person or when you're giving something to a coder is the feeling, is the what it is like for you on an emotional level, and that I think is easier to plan ahead for, because you can always say, well, this is going to be dark, it's going to be gritty, and this character is a character obsessed with revenge. That is more useful for an art director than this character was born in 1988 and they went.
That is completely wrong. You're saying giving a general theme or a vibe for a character is better than explaining the character setting and more information. Like, I'm not saying you can't work with a theme, but giving like a theme of this person was born in this time period. Okay, so I know they're going to be dressed in clothing of this time period. Boom. Art, now I know what to draw. Saying, well, they're a gladiator and there's whatever. It's like, okay, that's great, but like, what kind? What time period? What are they wearing? Do they, I mean? Like, I'm not saying that you can't work with a theme, but having that information is actually a lot more important to people who do art than just having having the actual information and actual like lore is much more useful to artists than just giving them, well, here's some general guidelines, unless that's the kind of game you're making. If you're making a game with general guidelines, go ahead.
To Oxford, and while at Oxford, their best friends stole their lunch money. Like, like that stuff doesn't matter, but what matters is this is a person who's after revenge. And I think
this is a person who's after revenge versus here's why they're after revenge and here's what happened. I think that it would make a lot more sense to know why they have revenge, and that would be helpful to be able to create art based off of them versus, well, they're after revenge. I could draw whatever I wanted based off that. You haven't given me anything.
I think a way to sidestep that impulse, especially when you have people demanding something from you to like give to the machine, is to try to, I'm over talking here, I'm going to wrap it up, but try to focus on those elements that can carry over easier.
Focus on elements that can carry over easier. So don't give detailed information on things or lore like that. Give a theme and a general thing, and that's better. What? No. If you say, hey, this character's based off of revenge, I could draw any character I wanted based off that. You need to give me a little bit more than that. If you say this character's driven by revenge in the 1970s and this is what happened and they're this, I can work with that now. I know they're human. I know they work to this. If you say, well, this character is very driven by revenge. Why? What is this? Like, you got to give me substance here.
Let me take it back real quick. There was something you said, Pelo, that maybe sparked something. Was the lore holder? This idea of this person who like has the lore, and given the time it takes for games to be produced from start to finish, the teams don't stay together all the time. Like there may be layoffs, people may leave for different reasons. All kinds of things can happen. So the idea of one person or this is the source of all of the knowledge of the game is not beneficial, because I think you need some fluidity there. Like this is, some room to navigate, because teams can move, or there may be like, again, we all make games, and the idea of like character A kicks in the door and animations like that's going to be too expensive. And the solution is something that's going to be, maybe simpler for animation. The narrative you have to kind of figure out, but like that idea that fluidity in what is a lore Bible might be, something that can work as well. So.
Okay, so I think I get what the guy is trying to say, what James is trying to say. Saying that having a lore Bible, I agree. I will actually say there's something I agree with. Having a lore Bible be kept by one person, especially if there's a team and you're not sure the team's going to stay together, is a really bad idea. 100% agree with that. I do. It should be something, a lore Bible should be something created by multiple, it could be maybe created by one person, but it should be something that multiple people have access to. What James is saying is the lore Bible should be a little bit more loose and fluid in a sense of it shouldn't have like specific lore and it should have like themes piggybacking off what Maxine said. Now, I don't think that's true. I think that's a bad idea. Having some flexibility, fine. You can do that. That makes perfect sense. But having one person be the lore master, fine. I get that. You want to make more people than one be the lore keeper. Sounds fine to me. Makes sense. But making a very bare bones lore thing so that people can do whatever they want with it, that's not what a lore Bible is. So then if that's what you're going to make, it's not a lore Bible. It's a theme Bible. Here's the theme. Here's what we're going for. There you go. But if it's a lore Bible, you need to have lore in it. Having more than one person have access to it and contribute to it makes perfect sense. I love how there's just dead silence after that.
Okay, I'm going to pause this for a second just so I can grab my...
What? What just happened there?
What is a lore Bible might be, something that can work as well. So.
Okay, I'm going to pause this for a second just so I can grab my...
My script. I'm going to go grab my script so when I talk next, I'll sound competent.
So I really love this idea of it's almost like gray boxing, but for narrative, right? That you're both talking about. And it's something I will admit that I have seen be hard to push back against, that impulse to create content. I, personally would love if that's something as an industry that we started to allow for more fallow times for teams, and recognizing that doesn't mean that the project, the production of making a game is faltering. It's just that, sometimes you're on the spot and sometimes you are not, and that is okay to not be in the hot seat for a second. In fact, it, can be, especially for artists, can be nice to have.
What? Okay, let's translate. Gray boxing, saying like kind of making things vague. I get that. Not having things be black and white, having things be more in the middle. I'm a therapist. I try to be able to translate this stuff. So what Cameron's saying is that it makes sense to kind of do gray boxing in a sense where literally you have it be less black and white. Makes perfect sense to me. I get that part. But doing that with games doesn't necessarily work. If this is what Sweet Baby Inc. is doing with games, and I'm not saying they are, because they're consultants. They don't take a game and make it from the ground up unless they're talking about their Playdate titles, which they did do. But in regards to this, they're consulting, they're script doctoring. But if they're doing it, if they're coming at it with a different perspective, like that we want to make this more gray, that explains why there are some times why these games don't resonate with players. Because making it a little gray in certain places and leaving it open to interpretation makes sense for games. Overdoing that, trying to change things from that angle, is going to completely change the tone of the game if you do it too much. So if someone takes a script and says, here, I wrote this script, and then they try to make it more vague, more loose, it's not going to have a cohesive narrative. Or at least not as good of a one. I'm sure you could do it in a way that would actually work. But from what these people are talking, I don't believe they can do that. I just don't.
a little bit of time to let ideas sink in. So yeah, I think you were already getting to it, but what some of the consequences of leaning a little bit too heavily into detail and over expounding can be for people on the team. I'm wondering if you, as folks who play a lot of games and who hear people talk about games a lot, if you can talk a little bit about what those consequences are for the player.
Ugh, this is so dumb. But yeah, Russ Williams says that the gray box is somewhere between a black box and a white box. It's a nonsensical term. Either you open the box or you don't. That's true. That's true. I think the term is dumb. I get what they're trying to say, is what I'm saying. I get what they're trying to say. I don't know what the pronouns is. Ugh. I can give this about 5 more minutes, guys. I am not going to finish this. I'm surprised I made it this far, but I can give us about 5 more minutes. And then I'll have to do another one where I'll finish this one up, and then we can do another panel because there's more. What panel do you want to do next, guys? I have a GDC vault called Baby Girls, Daddies, and Himbos, Updating Archetypes for Compelling Characters. How does that sound? That's like a great panel you want to watch? No? Or how about Prismatic People, Queer Narratives Beyond Romance? Or Unions in Gaming, Past, Present, and Future. These sound great? Everyone's saying no. Everyone in the chat's just saying no. You sure? You sure none of those? No? No? No. This was a lot more fun to get through. Guys, now you know what I do for research. I literally have to do this for research. This is what I do. I'm just doing it live. This is what I do all day. But when I'm lurking on something, which I am working on 2 stories potentially, but one of them is more closer to completion. But yeah, let's go a little bit. You know what? Actually, this is a good stopping point. 33 minutes. Can I borrow a piece of... You think this is whatever. This is a short panel, okay? This is a short panel. Okay, 33:04. We're only 33 minutes in. Yep. Two-thirds in 2 hours. Yes. Guys, I have a question for you. Do you feel like you've learned anything? Do you? Because I don't feel like I learned a thing. I feel like I learned nothing. I feel like, if anything, I knew more than when I came in here. And now after watching that, I feel dumb. It's weird when you talk. I got to fix that setting. But yeah, that was the Therapeutic GRIFT. Is this great, guys? Don't you love it? I'll definitely at least do one more of these to finish this one off. But might have learned to unsubscribe for sanity's sake, maybe. Well, then maybe I won't do another one. I'm just at least gonna do one more to finish this one off. But yeah. If you guys are watching this afterwards, great. Let me know in the comments if you want more of this or not. Because this is what I do. If you guys don't want to watch it with me, that's totally fine. I thought it was much more fun than sitting there and watching it on myself. That's pretty much what I'm doing most of the time. But yeah, in the future, hey, if I do this again, might invite people to come on with me. We'll see. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for now. I got to go because I do have other stuff to get to. We didn't finish this. I'll probably finish it as I said, we have about like 20 minutes left or so, a little bit more than 20 minutes, or a little less, and then we'll kind of see from there. Let me know. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for hanging with me. Sorry about your brain cells. Bye now.